Hey, Frank Aldridge from the TIGL group here. Welcome along. This is another one of our questions. We haven't done one for quite some time. It's supposed to be question of the month. It's been a wee while, but one of the things that's been coming up for us a lot lately is a question about what we call our pre-RFP calls. And so a couple of things. We've probably done one of these before at some stage, but because it's a common question, and I think with the whole COVID lockdown and Auckland's been in lockdown for ages, we've had to sort of, utilise technology to do some of this stuff. So we were doing this slightly different to where we used to do it in the past, so we thought it was a good time to have a refresh. So just coming back to, you might recall, if you've worked with me before, we have a paradigm around procurement, and I guess it came out of frustration of seeing poor procurement. But my business coach put the heat on me about 6 years ago and said, I'm sick of you whinging about how things are done, come up with a better way. So a better way was the new paradigm. So it's collaborative, courteous and considerate. And we just find that the more you collaborate and the more you talk with suppliers through the whole procurement and contracting process, but also in projects, so it's a project management theme too, the better it goes. And so coming back to procurement, our 4 key objectives are always know what you want, then try and attract the best suppliers, choose the right ones and manage them fairly. So this is part of attracting them, and it's part of choosing the right ones. So when we bring that collaborative thing into here, we typically in the public sector do a 2-stage approach every time. What that means is we'll go with a registration of interest, get a shortlist, then do a request for proposal. Where this pre-RFP call comes in, we've got registration of interest here, request for a proposal here, it's in the middle. And so what it means is we can actually talk to some suppliers here. And so the objective of these is really about clarity. It's clarity for us and it's clarity for them. It's not a sales pitch time. It's we tell them that. So we've selected a shortlist. We send them all the draft documents. Then, so it might be RFP, request for proposal, and the pricing model. So what we do then is we send them to them, and we have a half-hour call. Nowadays we're making that a Teams call. Why? Well, just so we can eyeball them. Can you always get them on Teams? Not always. But sometimes we have to have a phone and a Teams call going together. But what we're asking for there and there is there anything we've fundamentally got wrong with this? Is there anything you're unclear about? We have a set of rules around it. That's thanks for their time, thanks for their investment. If there's anything they say in here, we will protect that. So we'll protect their intellectual property. That's really important. Then we basically hand over to them. I just give them a brief on how we want them to answer. That's answer succinctly, answer the question, don't give us a whole lot of rubbish we didn't ask for. Then I'll typically talk them through the pricing model, because that's where that varies from project to project what that might look like. Then I cut it over to them. And it just gives us a good insight. So it's part about attracting people, we make it simple for them, but it also helps us choose the right ones. Sometimes by the end of this you're thinking, man, I've got a question mark about the supplier. So I hope that's helpful. We use it every time. That's the key. How many procurement projects have we done? More than 200. And yet I still want to do this to get that clarity, help them and to help us. And you get the odd time where there's something in there that if we hadn't asked this, we'd look really silly. Not very often, but just the odd time. So if you need help on this, give us a yell. We've got training in this space coming up next year. It's been a bit of a tough year for a lot of us. COVID this time for us was really busy, flat out, which was quite different to last year. I think we're getting used to working in these environments, using the technology. So we use the technology for this stuff. Means we don't have to travel, means we can do this stuff really quickly. These are half-hour calls. We typically have a gap of 15 minutes, bang, and then on to the next one. So we've got, if you need any stuff about our training workshops we've got coming up, we've got some things happening in the new year, just visit our website. And but apart from that, have a great Christmas, have a good break, and come back fresh and ready to hit the ground running next year.